Greetings fellow viewers, as I mentioned on my last video, today we'll be doing a complete critique to Verde Cafe. This is not the first time I do a video to this cafeteria, but since back then I had way less resources and that video aged poorly, I decided to remake it. First of all, I know my attitude towards Verde has not been the most positive one. Hilarious how a game created back on 2006 has currently more daily visits than Verde fucking Cafe.
Go fuck yourself!
If Frappe version 5 was a 3 out of 10, and Verde Cafe version 4 a 2.5 out of 10, then this, after that boho salon was without map for a few years, which obviously pushed away their popularity. People left and the map they were given was one of the shittiest maps ever created in any roleplay game, and yes, I'm talking about Boho Salon version 3, whose crappiness can only be compared with Frappe version 5 or Verde Cafe version 4. Filled with more activities. In my last video about Verde I mentioned how the moderators didn't seem to care at all about their own game, however with Boho this is not the case.
I start to cry. I'm trying to avoid any sort of contact with my eyes with this thing, but it's so bright and yellow. I can't look.
But today I'm not here to kick a dead body, but to make an honest and as objective as possible review of what was once a very famous cafe on Roblox.
Well, for fuck me.
Not the most, since Frappe already existed back then. Without further delay, let's get into the video. Verde Cafe was a group originally founded in 2016, and whose game would finally launch in 2018. This cafeteria, despite just seemingly being one more of the bunch and not having any innovations, got popular due to being very well made and the fact that it came out when the Roblox restaurant trend was at its peak of popularity. Verde Cafe by 2018 had a respectable amount of players, and as time went on, despite not making any relevant updates, the game knew how to follow the trend well, doing alliances with other cafe games, doing different events, and even rewarding their most hardworking players with an entrance ticket to the world of moderation. Any of those things was originally from Verde, but ideas that other cafes had and the rest copied. But that doesn't matter, since Verde Cafe, despite being just another cafe game, cafe games were the trend during 2018 and 2019. There's only one little problem. And that is that trends tend to end after a period of time. And so the cafe trend ended, and so did Verde, since from that point onward, Verde would be in an extended downfall that would last for over 2 years. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2021. Verde Cafe did not get well with 2021.
I like it cut, G.
In fact, any cafeteria game during this year did very well. The cafeteria trend that was so popular back then, clearly had passed.
Oh shit!
And most of players were not interested anymore in buying pixelated orders in a Roblox McDonald's, which I'm surprised how were they interested in first place. Many games like Boba Cafe, Frappe, or Venti, who for over the years had shown their will to always take the cafe games a step further, knew they would have to adapt themselves to the new circumstances in order to survive. And so they did. Boba Cafe added many events with real rewards, remade their menu options, and even created a big map with secrets around it. Frappe and Venti also added events and challenges for the players to have fun, but also increased their activity in both the game and the Discord server. Those games who had been known for innovating, since they were liked and played because they were fun and nice games, and not because the trend. Sadly, Verde was not part of this group. Verde Cafe had never innovated in anything, to the point that many described them as an inferior version of Frappe. During the cafeteria trend, this wasn't an issue, since despite being an inferior copycat, people liked these types of game, but when the trend was over, why would anyone play Verde having other much better cafe games such as Boba Cafe or Venti? The answer is, no fucking idea. Verde Cafe just kept doing what was popular, kept doing what others did, and it never shined by its own merits, which of course, even if made them a very decent cafe game, they would always be behind real innovators, and they would always be a second course meal. This manifested in August 2021, when all of a sudden, Verde's number of players went down from one day to another. By September there were barely any players, and according to some people who worked there during the time, the high moderators excused it with, school was starting and so anyone was playing. Which is baffling, since other game like Frappe and Venti had players despite being September. Verde knew their game was slowly going into a grave, so they decided to throw away their biggest update in like forever. Verde Cafe v4. I think we all know how did that go.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. This is awful in every way. If I could kill it, I would. But I legally can't.
I could now go to the park next to my home, search for the biggest dog crap, and it would still be 10 times smaller than the crap Verde Cafe version 4 was.
Ew! What the fuck?
There are many reasons of why this version was a disgusting soul-sucking experience for anyone who played it. But I'll let the guy from the first video explain it for me.
Gotta put effort to kill a game this fast. When V4 came out there were tons of players. How did you screw something up so badly? Oh right, an inferior and unfinished version is thrown away and you expected people to play it because it's new, and to ignore all the bugs and lag. By the way, the new map is huge, but there's nothing to do there aside from one building. The rest of the map is pure decoration. The last one was small as heck, but offered well what all the game has to offer. Like bro, I just entered and for some reason there's a swimming pool. Why would you add that to a Roblox cafe game? Not even real cafes have one. And you have like tons of random tables around the map. Why couldn't y'all use that remaining space for some activity to make the map less boring? You prioritize beauty over functionality, and that equals to the map being impressive the first time you enter, and nothing more. Why would you even spend more than a minute there? There's nothing to do. Also, wow, the lag is important in this one. My jumps take seconds to be completed and for some reason I randomly get respawned if I get near to the counter where the people is supposed to be. Also the map has nothing special about it. You could show anyone that model and tell them is from Venti, and they would believe you. The map is just lifeless, is full of glitches, and is boring, and aside asking for a pixelated drink, which takes a minute, there's no reason to be there or even to come back. Just bring back the old V3, it was a ridiculous tiny map compared to any other roleplay game, with nothing to do aside from asking for a pixelated order, but still, it wasn't needlessly huge and full of bugs or lag. It wasn't good but it did its job relatively well. I bet who did V4 put all the scripts in the last minute and that's the result. And I'm not even starting with the laughable moderation, this is just one more nail in the coffin.
Not only the game was full of bugs, not only the map was boring as shit, lacking completely of personality, but also some of the orders couldn't be made, cause some brainiac forgot about adding water, so teas couldn't be made or any water having orders. Well fucking done Verde Cafe version 4, you ruined teas. But enough with Verde Cafe version 4, since even the moderators knew they had fucked up with this map. So by January 2022, Verde Cafe version 3 was back. And now? Now nothing. Verde Cafe has stayed empty since then, no events or updates are coming, and their latest update was almost a year ago, which was an update made to fix another update they had done previously. As you can see, Verde Cafe's current state is as promising as a bullet going in your direction. I won't attack Verde Cafe fans, since they are like two and one of them thought I literally meant green coffee, but I have good news for you. This doesn't need to be the end of Roblox's greenest cafe, but before going into that topic, I'd like to discuss something that the person who told me about Verde Cafe wasn't particularly happy about. The moderation team. It really seems like having awful moderation is something these groups just can't avoid.
Me cago en tu madre! Me cago en tu abuela! Me cago en ti! Me cago en tu maldita madre!
I cannot exactly pinpoint why Verde's moderation was so hated among its users, since there were multiple reasons, and many of them are what you would expect. Late time responses, mods joining the game once in a week just to stay AFK and calling it a day.
Good night, girl. I'll see you tomorrow.
Mods being extremely bossy and warning more baristas for stupid bullshit like grammar, than warning actual trolls for trolling. Every barista at Verde has their own mod abuse story. However, I'm gonna talk about a certain incident that really showed what the Verde moderation team looked like. So there was this mod called Nina. She was your typical try-hard lead barista who eventually got the moderation title. However, not long after, she was accused with evidence of abusing her power, and so, like any normal power abuser, she got fired from her position. If only the story ended there. Turns out, Nina somehow got back her rank shortly after, and people kept complaining about her moderation skills.
Get the fuck out of here, bitch!
Yet no one did anything. How come someone who has been proved to abuse their power is let to return? Especially considering Verde Cafe is very strict with who can join their moderation team. Troll once as a customer, and you'll never see the mod rank. How come there were no baristas calling Verde out for this? Well, there was actually one user calling them out. Tokyo was a former Verde lead who was known for posting constant complaints about Verde on the group wall, and always picking up fights with whoever dared to prove him wrong. Turns out many of the arguments and comments Tokyo had were actually very much true. The issue is that his rude and violent attitude while commenting made him look like he was just some angry barista, salty for losing his rank. Such a shame, since this man really had a good idea of what Verde was turning into. Despite what it seems, I would like Verde Cafe to come back. Not because I liked the game, I played it like twice and the second time I was P-banned. But because the user I contacted to tell me about this game really seemed to miss those good times at Verde. But can even Verde come back? I mean, it really seems that Verde is staying on the ground this time, and I would be honestly very surprised if Verde somehow comes back. But hell, Boho Salon came back to life even after 3 years of being dead. By this point I don't know what is possible and what is not. And with that, the video is over. Verde Cafe maybe will find its way back to the once popular state it had long ago, but right now don't waste your time or effort in here. This game will only come back when the developers can or want to. Right now all left to do is wait, and keep waiting, and leave the game until that hypothetical promising future arrives.
I just need someone in my life to give it structure, to handle all the selfish ways I'd spend my time without her. You're everything I want, but I can't deal with all your lovers. You're saying I'm the one, but it's your actions that speak loud.